I feel like this New York Knicks team is finally starting to figure it out, especially their starting lineup with adding a ton of new pieces in the offseason and last season, adding guys like OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl Anthony Towns. We saw this Knicks team have a very impressive win on Christmas Day against a competitive and feisty San Antonio Spurs team, and it might not have been the greatest game for guys like Cat and Jalen Brunson shooting the ball wise, but it was for Mikal Bridges, and that's what I like about this team a ton because in their starting lineup, we can see they have Jalen Brunson, Cat, OG, and Mikal Bridges. And I feel like any one of those four guys on any given night can give you 30, 40 points. And I feel like that's what makes this Knicks team super deadly and very hard to predict and very hard to guard because we know Jalen Brunson, what he can do offensively and the scoring numbers he can put up. But then you got to deal with a guy at Cat who can stretch the floor, shoot the ball very effectively at that five position, and he can score 40, 50, 60 points, on any given night if he gets hot from the three. And then we saw with Mikal Bridges on Christmas, 41 points on 6 and 9 from three. He can get hot at any single time, and I like the versatility of this squad. I think they have very well-rounded defenders with guys like OG and Mikal on the wing. They can clamp up pretty much any other team's best player, whether it's on the perimeter with a really good point of attack defender in Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and then they can also guard those longer and taller wings if you're playing against a LeBron or a KD or a Tatum or a Paulo Banchero, those guys, right, that are really good offensively, but are on the little bit taller side and have a little bit more physicality. I like guys like OG and Mikal stepping up and being able to guard those wings and forwards. So all around, I think this Knicks team has really good offense. It's very well balanced. I feel like they, in this game, for example, right, Mikal Bridges had 41, and that was obviously the main leading scorer, but then you still had Jalen Brunson on a bad efficiency night have 20 points. Cat on a bad efficiency night also have 20 plus points as well. So that's 80 points right there just from three players. And I feel like that happens a lot with this Knicks squad is that they are very well balanced. And, OG didn't have a great game offensively, but we know at any given time he can score a ton of points as well. So this Knicks team, I feel like, is finally starting to figure it out, especially their starting lineup. And then even guys off the bench like Miles McBride, I think has been very, very good this season. He also had a very bad efficiency night against the Spurs. It wasn't a great efficiency night in total against the Spurs team on Christmas, but Miles McBride, I think, is a very good piece off the bench. You also have guys like Precious Achiuwa that can give you solid backup big man role, a solid backup big man role for this Knicks squad. And then we also have to talk about the fact that they have Mitchell Robinson, who isn't playing for them because he's out with injury. So once he comes back, you're going to get a lot more depth at that center position and just another guy that can come off the bench and give you solid minutes, rebounding the ball, and playing very good defense. Taking a look at the Knicks schedule here, we can see how good they've been over the past couple weeks and month. They've currently have won 5 games in a row. They have a record of now 20-10, and they have just been playing red-hot basketball and seriously look like one of the best teams in the entire NBA. And I think they're kind of going to be a sleeper for this entire NBA season and going into the playoffs because in the East, everyone's talking about the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's rightfully so because those teams do look like the two best teams in the East, but I wouldn't count out this Knicks squad. I wouldn't count out Jalen Brunson, Cat, Mikal, and OG, and also Josh Hart. I think they have an amazing starting five that can compete with any other starting five in the NBA. We could take a look at their schedule for their next couple weeks. They do have a game against Orlando, which should be a sort of easy win today on Friday because they obviously don't have Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero, so an easy win there should be for the Knicks today on Friday against the Magic. And then you also should have 2 easy wins against the Wizards back-to-back. Then you play Utah, so they could realistically be on a 9-game winning streak, and I would not be surprised. But then you do have to go play Oklahoma, OKC, which is going to be a very tough game. But then you even have like Chicago, Orlando, Toronto, and then OKC once again. So you got some really easy games, and you play OKC. Then you got some easy games again, then you play OKC. So a very similar schedule for this Knicks squad coming up. But I think they're a team that if we look in the standings, could realistically make a push for number 2 in the East because they're only 2 games behind Boston. And with how easy their schedule looks over the next couple weeks into a month, I would not be surprised if this Knicks squad goes on an absolute tear and just starts decimating and dominating the entire NBA. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, which puts them as one of the most hot teams in the NBA right now. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Knicks, and I think they're a team that will look back in a couple weeks and maybe a month and see how good they're going to be because I like the way they're playing. I think they've been playing really good basketball, and I think that's going to continue over the next couple weeks and a month. But let me know in the comment section down below What do you guys think about this New York Knicks squad? Do you guys think they're the real deal? Do you think they're finally starting to mesh and figure it out together? Because I personally do think so. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.